Hi, and welcome back to Pinky Boo Hauntings. I'll be your witchy host, Shy, and I'll be your guide to all things paranormal, weird, and spooky. I know I say this a lot lately, but this week is going to be a crazy week for me. Not only do I have to plan a whole birthday party by myself, I also have to figure out how to make a Pac-Man cake, and I may or may not be making banners as well. Oh, and I was requested to make a cake topper too, as well as wrap the presents, of course. So, to get my mind off of all of that for a moment, let's talk about ghosts. Our first story is my life was saved by a ghost. My boyfriend of 5 years has crushed on me for probably 12 or 13 years. He was 2 grades below me and was a bad boy. While I was popular and in all honors college level classes, so I wasn't aware he existed until I met him at my dad's business about 7 years ago. He apparently talked about me being his dream girl. It was teased that it would never happen, is why I mention this. I just hope he wasn't being creepy all of those years, because I know, especially at that age, but really, let's be honest, at any age, a guy that likes you like that will do anything and everything to get your attention, whether you want it or not. And since he sounds very committed, I could see that happening. But then again, you did say you didn't even know he existed, so maybe he didn't bother you. Honestly, I hope that's the case, because it would be way sweeter if he admired you from afar and just let it happen naturally. So in 2009, he and his best friend, I'll call him Josh, were getting into pills due to Josh's grandfather being an amputee and unable to properly attend or understand hiding the medication, thus leaving out large amounts of methadone, clonopin, hydrocodone, and such lying around. Bet you can't guess that I really do not like saying medicine names. I don't know who decided to name them, but I do not like them. So if I sound weird saying all that, my bad. I'm trying my best, I promise. This was before the opiate crisis that has affected my generation deeply in the last 15 years. 2 days before Christmas 2009, Josh overdosed in the bedroom that my boyfriend is currently staying in. It's a long story, but we moved back into our respective families because we were laid off during the pandemic and were in a bad wreck, losing the extra car. The room has never felt spooky, never anything strange about it, but I've had a few pranks pulled on me that we believe Josh does to basically congratulate my boyfriend on being with the woman he waited for. I've woken up to sticky notes completely covering my body, my drinks poured into the floor, and random objects moved right where I exit the bed so that I step on them first thing in the morning. I swear I've heard giggling each time I've angrily asked my boyfriend if he was messing with me, and I'm aware when he's lying. He always says no. We like to think this is Josh playing practical jokes, something he was known for. But this is nothing compared to what Josh did for me in 2017. It wasn't a prank, it saved my life. I'm not gonna lie, the sticky notes is wild. Also, Josh needs to chill on the practical jokes. Like, at some point, it has got to get old. Maybe you need to tell him to stop. If he still does that, anyways. 4 years ago, I went into anaphylactic shock. I lost all ability to speak or move my lower body. I was upstairs with a curved and steep staircase separating me from my phone. I remember crawling to the stairs, knowing it could be fatal if I smashed into the wall that the stairs led to before the turn with very large, steep steps. I know I was extremely oxygen deprived, but I immediately saw Josh and two of my deceased best friends ascend the staircase and carry me to the living room couch with my nebulizer and cell phone. I called 911, but I had no voice. My friends were gone, except Josh. He told me he was going to wake my boyfriend from the hammock in the back of my yard. And suddenly, my boyfriend dreamed of his friend saying that I was in trouble. If all of this really happened, that is insane. I mean, I'm happy you made it down the stairs safely, but still, my boyfriend came running into the house. And by this point, I was dying. I no longer could use any part of my body, and no air came into my lungs when I inhaled. I remember thinking of my daughter and praying her father would navigate my loss to her and keep memories of me alive. He actually died in a freak accident 8 months ago, so now I'm fulfilling that for him. But I digress. Wait, wait, is this the boyfriend or someone else? I'm so confused right now. Also, your friend group seems to be very unlucky. What is going on with you guys? I struggled to remain conscious, but I was fading. My boyfriend saw the 911 operator on the phone in my sweaty blue body. He told them he didn't think I was breathing, and by some absolute miracle, there was an ambulance passing my neighborhood. The hospital and dispatch were 30 minutes away. This coincidence, plus my boyfriend's sudden premonition that I was hurt, saved my life. Josh and those EMTs saved my life. I remember the EMT asking my boyfriend if I had overdosed. I hadn't. And I thought of how Josh had died. I was blabbering on about dead people saving me after a large amount of endorphin, so no wonder they thought I was high. The doctors and EMT were baffled at how I managed to get down those stairs or even stay alive long enough to get help. I had one bruise on my leg that was tiny. That was it, and the worst headache I've ever had. Well, yeah, you did lose oxygen for a good while. That would definitely give you a bad headache. Turns out, I'm allergic to latex and spray paint. I just told them I slid down the stairs, but it's not how I remember it. I don't blame you for not telling that part of the story when you were in your right head again. It could get you sent to a grippy sock vacation, especially if you told the wrong person. Plus, it does sound kind of crazy. Don't get me wrong, we do crazy here, we do weird, but for a lot of people, that sounds unbelievable. The weird thing is, I never met Josh when he was alive. I don't know how I recognized him or hallucinated him, but he looked exactly like the picture I was shown. I've had a lot of paranormal encounters, but my run in with Josh saved my life, and he never even knew me. So, thanks, Josh, for giving me more time on this earth, and I wish we had met many years before. I do hope he is resting peacefully, just periodically popping in to check on us. Well, he was your boyfriend's best friend and knew how much of a crush he had on you. So I don't think it mattered that you didn't know him. He definitely knew you and wanted to save his best friend another heartbreak. Also, I'm sure he's living peacefully on the other side, if not a little bit annoyingly so, with his practical jokes on you. But let's move on from this life saving spirit and see what makes our next ghost so awesome. This story is called Our Pretty Awesome Ghost and Her Story. My wife and I moved into an old house in New England in the summer of 2000. We had looked at dozens of houses, but this one just immediately felt like home. Soon after, we invited our good friends, James and his boyfriend, up for the weekend. Keep James and his husband in mind. We were pretty well into getting our late night party on, playing cards, drinking, smoking in the dining room. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw, though the experience was more like perceived, very vividly, a older woman with jet black hair sitting next to an old upright piano in the corner. The piano came with the house. We specifically requested that the previous owner include it in the sale because it was so cool. And we didn't have much furniture. It wasn't even slightly scary. In fact, it was just like she was hanging out. I mentioned it to everyone and we laughed it off. Drinking and fun continued through the night. I bet she loved that piano and was happy you kept it in the house, as well as take care of it. I was never really a ghost believer and still a skeptic 100%, but the rest of the story made me really wonder. I will never understand how someone says they're a skeptic after seeing a whole apparition in their house. I mean, maybe if this was all, I could see you trying to explain it away, but we're only halfway through the story. So clearly, this isn't all you saw or dealt with. So again, how are you a skeptic even now? Several weeks later, we met a neighbor from down the street who lived in the neighborhood for 45 years. You live in Muriel King's house, she tells us. Muriel was a really interesting lady. She was a famous fashion designer in the 1930s. Please Google her. That lived there alone after her husband committed suicide. Very traumatic, but she was an interesting lady, very independent, and ahead of her time. She traveled all over the world. She was Greek, I think. Greek? I asked. Weird question, but did she have black hair? Yes! She had black hair even when she was an old woman. It was very striking. Yep, I got chills right then. Yeah, 'cause you know deep down you saw her. You're not a skeptic. You're just scared to believe, aren't you? Many weeks later, I met another neighbor from down the street that had lived there for 60 plus years, and he started telling me about Muriel. Every time I say Muriel, I can't help but think of Courage the Cowardly Dog. And if it wasn't the middle of the night and everybody was asleep right now, I want to yell her name the way Eustace would. because that's all I hear in my head every time I read this name. And now I probably put that in your head. So you're welcome. She was a famous fashion designer. She designed gowns for Rita Hayworth and all of the classic film stars. And she designed costumes for Broadway plays too. Oh, I did Google her, by the way, and all of this is true. She was a famous fashion designer that did work on a lot of movies back in the golden age of cinema. She's even one of the first fashion designers to achieve name recognition in America. So, to say the least, she is kind of a badass. Her parties were legendary, he tells me. She used to have all of her gay boyfriends from Broadway come up on the train and they drink and sing show tunes at the piano in the dining room all night long. Oh, I see. That's why she decided to join you that night. You guys reminded her of her party she had and probably wanted to have fun with you. That's so cool. I like this lady. Oh, and this also reminds me that I have yet to say Happy Pride, everybody. I know, I probably should have said it earlier, but I wish I could have done a Pride theme for this month, but I don't know what to even look up for that. If you guys have any ideas that I could use for next year, please tell me. Because I really would have loved to celebrate the month a little better. But first of all, I'm bad at this still, as far as the scheduling and all that junk goes, and also just keeping up with when these things are coming out, at least until the last minute, and I've already recorded. But maybe I can get better at it by next year so that I can actually do a theme. So if you have any ideas for what I could do, like a deep dive or something, please tell me. Hell, even if it's just a gay bar that's haunted or something, I want to know about it. Anyways, let's get back to the story. Yep. Now, this all could be coincidental, but it just seems too much so. But she must have been an awesome woman. People from around town have given us some of her original drawings, and even an unfinished dress she was working on. There haven't been any more Muriel sightings, but shortly after my wife got pregnant 20 years ago, we both woke up out of a cold sleep at the same time and looked at each other like, what the fuck? And then our bedroom door slammed hard. We like to think that Muriel wasn't a fan of kids. She never had any of her own. So she was like, later, y'all, I'm out of here. That's my story. Thanks for reading. I mean, it's possible she saw you having a baby as the end of the party. Clearly, she enjoyed her parties, and it is harder to have fun like that once you have a kid. Either way, I do hope she just decided to leave you guys in peace to raise your baby and went somewhere else to host her legendary parties in the afterlife. And hopefully having lots of fun with her gay boyfriends, and they're all living in peace. Also, yeah, you clearly were living with the spirit of a famous fashion designer, whether you want to really believe it or not, which I do think you believe somewhere deep down. You just don't want to admit it to yourself. You know, except for the traumatic medical emergency in the first story, these have all been pretty nice stories, don't you think? Just some nice ghosts coming around to help, or just to enjoy the party. And luckily, I think this last one will also be the same. Just proving that not everything paranormal has to be bad or scary. But enough of that. Why don't we actually get into the last story? My friend let me know he was okay. This past year, I lost one of my best friends to suicide. He was the most loving, goofy person I had in my life. He was obsessed with food, and specifically ranch. It was always a running joke because he put ranch on everything. I put that shit on everything. Alright, I know that's from a Frank's Red Hot commercial and not a ranch thing, but this made me think of it. I'm sorry. I probably just confused everyone. Oh well. He was also a huge dog cat lover. The day I found out that he passed away, I was sitting in my bed crying, and my cat randomly decides to bring me something. My cat brought me a pack of ranch. Your friend figured ranch would fix your broken heart, I guess. This was the craziest thing ever, as my cat has never brought me anything before. And I immediately think of my friend every time I see ranch. I also normally don't keep ranch in the house, so this was especially weird. Turns out my roommate had grabbed one pack of ranch at the gas station the day before for no reason. Just so crazy. Had to share. Kind of a goofy story, but I took it as a sign that my friend was okay and it made me feel better. Yeah, I'd say that it was a sign from him to let you know that he was okay. Even your roommate randomly grabbing a pack of ranch for no reason, it is all too much of a coincidence. It was all meant to come together when it did to help ease you in that moment. You even said it helped make you feel better. So at least he was able to get his message through to you. And at least you know he's still around and that he's okay. Well, guys, that's all I have for this week. And sadly, that means I have to turn back into a party planner once again. I would say send me good vibes because I need it for the cake alone. But by the time this comes out, we would have already had the party. So hopefully the cake turned out well and I got everything together and we had a great time. If it did all turn out well, I'll let you know in the next episode I record after the party. Anyways, if you enjoy the podcast, please rate and review, as well as like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. You can also help us grow the coven by spreading the word. Tell your grandma, tell your best friend, tell your judgy aunt, tell literally everyone you know. And make sure you tell them they have to listen to the whole show or they'll be cursed forever. I mean, they won't really, because I don't curse unless I have to, but they don't need to know that. And don't forget, if you have a story of your own, or hell, if you have an idea that you want me to cover, send that in too. That means ghosts, that means cryptic encounters, that means alien sightings. Even give me your mishaps in your practice. I don't care. I want it all. So long as it's spooky, weird, and creepy, I want to hear about it. So send them all to pinkyboohauntings at Gmail. And of course, the email will also be in the show notes below. But for now, the coven is adjourned. See you next time. Bye.